So far, Pakistan has not tested or demonstrated any ballistic missile beyond the range of 2,750 kilometer, which is a Shaheen 3. And this specific range provides a technical evidence that Pakistan does not seek any hegemonic extra regional strategic ambitions.
India is trying to mimic Israel. They're trying to be a copycat. They want to create a sense of insecurity in Washington where there is none, to somehow push and lure Americans to play that role against Pakistan.
With such attempts to spoil through fake narratives of alleged Pakistani ICBM program aiming to hit the US will not be able to harm. Very intense, short, 12-day-long war in the Middle East. What are, in your view, likely impact and consequences of this conflict?
Both the objectives of Israeli government, the overthrow of the Iranian government and complete destruction and obliteration of Iranian nuclear program have not been achieved.
What is the cost of this war if you were to compare for both Iran and Israel?
Both paid a huge price. Iran paid the price of not developing its air defense systems. It also paid the price of not keeping an eye on its intelligence. Israel paid the price of waging a war from thousands of kilometers away without boots on the ground and underestimating the strategic missile capacity of Iran.
Viewers, very warm welcome to another episode of our weekly program, The Weekend, in which we analyze the most significant global, regional, and domestic developments that affect the world, the region, and South Asia, and particularly Pakistan. Last week, Mr. Solangi witnessed a lot of hectic developments, and I think some of the statements, engagements, and events definitely deserve our timely analysis. So, Mr. Solangi, I want to start off by asking your analysis of what the world should expect from the future in terms of this very intense, short, 12-day-long war in the Middle East. What are, in your view, likely impact and consequences of this conflict?
Well, I will say that Mr. Netanyahu and the state of Israel successfully dragged Trump administration into this war with the objectives of overthrow of Iranian government, quote unquote regime change, and complete destruction and obliteration of Iran's nuclear program. However, Trump, in the last day or two before the war formally ended, somehow found a way to end this war. And at the end of this war, at least I can say for sure that both the objectives of Israeli government, the overthrow of the Iranian government and complete destruction and obliteration of Iranian nuclear program have not been achieved. So there is a failure on both ends. What is next is we will discuss as we go ahead.
Definitely. I think it's a very important starting comment from you, Mr. Solangi. What is the cost of this war if you were to compare for both Iran and Israel? Who do you think paid a heavier price and how?
Well, to be honest, both paid a huge price. Iran paid the price of not developing its air defense systems and its and modernization of its military. At the same time, it also paid the price of not keeping an eye on its intelligence. So they paid the price in huge damages on 3 nuclear sites and elimination of its top military intelligence and scientific community. So that's the price they paid for not paying attention to those facts. Israel paid the price of waging a war from thousands of kilometers away without boots on the ground and underestimating the strategic missile capacity of Iran, which somehow punctured its multi-layered defense system, including the famous Iron Dome. And it somehow created a huge chaos within the state of Israel. The people of Israel and also the Israeli regime realized that crushing hapless, innocent Palestinians and attacking the poor neighbors like Lebanon and Syria is not equivalent to attacking Iran, which is more than 10 times the size of Israel, with a huge population of 90 million. It's almost twice the size of Pakistan, a country that borders with almost 8 countries. So both have or should have the realization of what they have lost.
So let me follow it up with a deeper question, that if you were to analyze the impact of this war on the foreign defense and domestic politics of Iran and Israel, do you expect any course correction or changes in the foreign defense and domestic politics of Israel and Iran, or do you expect the status quo to continue?
As an eternal optimist, I would hope that both would do some course correction. But this country, by the name of Israel and Iran, knowing them and knowing the world, this world is full of insane, irrational people. So I was not expecting India attacking Pakistan the way they did after this frivolous Pahalgam accusation, but they did. So there are too many irrational actors in the world. But as an optimist, I would say that Israel should do the course correction. The way they have led this war and their previous actions and their continuing action in Gaza would never buy peace to Israel. There's something different they need to do to secure the state of Israel. and they would have to renounce some of their policies. Even I would add that the dream of Abrahamic Accords, as envisaged by Mr. Trump, would not come to fruition until they make the course correction with reference to their policies in the Middle East, special with focus um, to Palestine. Same, I would expect that Iran would have to realize that its policy of propping up proxies would not help Iran. You have seen what happened to Hamas. It's almost obliterated. You have seen what happened to Hezbollah. Houthis, they keep getting attacked. And some other policies at home. I don't want to advise too much to Iran, but I can say with certainty that status quo will not hold.
A brief comment before we move to the next topic on the recent news in the Israeli media that there is a peace plan regarding Gaza in the offing based on the responsibility of Egypt and UAE taking care of Gaza, while this will also imply that Hamas will not have a political or security role in the future of Gaza. What's your thought on these news? Do you take them seriously, or do you think it's just a figment of imagination?
Well, so far, the peace plan by Israelis and even Americans has been more a plan of pieces rather than peace. A truncated Palestinian state, broken in parts, heavily marginalized and besieged. That's not a peace plan, and Palestinians would never accept it. I can understand that there is resentment against Hamas, even among Palestinians, including PLA in the West Bank. But I'm not too sure if Palestinians will accept any foreign troops, even if they are from Arab states. They would probably prefer a technocratic government minus Hamas of the people of Gaza for the transition period. But I seriously doubt that they would want troops of other countries, maybe on the border, but not administering the internal control of the Gaza Strip. I doubt Gazans will accept it.
Okay, so let's move to the next topic, which is the recent Minister of Defense meeting at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which was first attended by Pakistan's National Security Advisor, who was also Pakistan's DGISI, but later Pakistan's Defense Minister, Raja Asif, also spoke there. What are your views on the timing, the agenda, the process, and the outcome of this important meeting?
Even sad for India that under Modi, India is fast becoming an isolated, marginalized country with a population of over 1 billion people and economically not too weak, but it's isolated from its neighbors. It's pretty much isolated in the global community, as we saw in the aftermath of May 10 this war between Pakistan and India. It's isolated in BRICS, and now it's isolated in SCO. If you remember that when this Iran-Israeli conflict started, India did not even support the statement of condemnation against Israel because they didn't want to annoy their tight buddy in Tel Aviv. So I see this continued isolation of India under Modi, and that's why even they are being attacked by their opposition, saying, you did not even persuade SCO. You sent diplomatic envoys to countries nobody knows the names even. But you did not, persuade the SCO countries, and resulting in the total isolation that no country was able to support Indian position in the recent SCO meeting in China.
Indeed, it seems that in the last 2 months, India has lost goodwill in both Washington and Asia. It seems that of the 8 countries, 7 supported Pakistan's stance at SCO, both on Kashmir and terrorism. And India did not receive any support from 7 member states, either on Kashmir or on the issue of terrorism. Whereas in case of the US, which thought India was the center of gravity of the Indo-Pacific strategy, is also, it is very interesting that Mr. Modi was called by Mr. Trump on his return from the G7 in Canada, and he avoided having an audience with Mr. Trump. So it is unfortunate that Mr. Modi is reluctant to meet Mr. Trump because he's supporting Pakistan's stance, which is principled, anchored in the UN Security Council resolution, recognizes the disputed and international nature of the Kashmir issue, but most importantly, based on the very serious and responsible understanding of the critical nature of the Kashmir issue for the peace, security, and stability of South Asia, because it surrounds 3 nuclear-armed countries. So it is very important, not just for the Kashmiri people, but also for the peace and security of this region, that India returns to the negotiation table instead of trying to provoke and attack Pakistan on flimsy pretexts. But that brings me to the third topic of tonight's program, which is quite interesting. Not new, but interesting. That some US scholars of Indian origin have written a piece in Foreign Affairs, a leading US journal, a prestigious journal published by Council on Foreign Relations, a leading think tank, which is primarily focused on the US threat perception based on the revival of global nuclear rearmament. And it primarily urges the US administration to also improve its nuclear arsenal to meet the threat from Russia and China. However, between the lines, there is an interesting paragraph in which Mr. Vipin Narang has stated that US also faces a threat from Pakistani missiles. Before I ask your perspective on that, I think there are 3 reasons why I think this is neither realistic nor rational, nor technically feasible or possible for Pakistan. Number one, We both have lived and worked in Washington, and we know how much Pakistan values its relationship with Washington. Uh, US is Pakistan's largest export market. Pakistani diaspora makes a valuable contribution to Pakistan's economy through remittances. And Pakistan highly values the US influence and goodwill over international financial institutions like IMF and World Bank for any relief that its economy occasionally needs. So these three economic interests alone uh, prohibits any rational country to consider developing missile capability to directly attack its key and critical economic interests. It makes no sense purely on rational basis. Secondly, so there is no incentive or motive for Pakistan. Secondly, on technical ground, I think it is important that so far Pakistan has not tested or demonstrated any ballistic missile beyond the range of 2,750 kilometer, which is a Shaheen 3. And this specific range provides a technical evidence that Pakistan does not seek any hegemonic extra regional strategic ambitions. And the only purpose, and it is a technical evidence of Pakistan's doctrine of credible minimum deterrence, which only aims at ensuring that Pakistan's delivery capability remains credible and across the entire Indian territory, both mainland and also including Nicobar and Andaman Islands. Whereas, in contrast, India has tested 5,000 kilometer range Agni 5. According to credible reports, it's developing a missile of 8,000 kilometer range, Surya. And it has two operational nuclear powered ballistic missile submarines, Arigat and Arihant, which, if Mr. Modi wakes up tomorrow morning and orders the captains of these two ballistic missile nuclear submarines, then they can be deployed in a few days in the Atlantic Ocean, and they can easily target any state of their choice within the entire US mainland. So it is the technical reality which, unfortunately, a leading strategic thinker and expert like Mr. Vipin Narang has conveniently overlooked, that there are six nuclear powers which possess nuclear powered nuclear submarines which provide unlimited endurance and range, and these submarines can be deployed anywhere around the world, and these six states, which now includes India, can target and launch a nuclear attack through its ballistic missiles anywhere in the world. So the debate, which is normally focused and restricted to land-based ICBM, is important but not comprehensive. So that is something which I think serious missile and strategic thinkers of the US must not neglect and overlook, not for sympathy towards Pakistan, but for US own national security interests. And lastly, I think it would be very interesting if US had threat perception from Pakistan, then it would be very highly unlikely that the US president would invite Pakistan's military chief for a lunch and appreciate him for his responsibility, mature leadership during the recent conflict. That would be out of place. So based on these four reasons, my view is that I think this particular alarmist paragraph in the Foreign Affairs article is out of place, but perhaps seeks to spoil Pak-US improving relations, which I'm sure will not happen thanks to more informed, serious, independent US strategic thinkers and planners. Lastly, Mr. Vipin was also part of the outgoing of the former Biden administration. So in any case, I don't think he'll be able to convince and impress the Trump administration with his arguments in any case. But I'd like your perspective on this, if you have something to add for the benefit of our audience.
On a lighter note, I would say India is trying to mimic Israel. They're trying to be a copycat, that since Israeli doctrine was that Iran is an existential threat, and they couldn't defeat Iran by themselves. So they sought American help to destroy these three nuclear sites. They want to create a sense of insecurity in Washington where there is none, to somehow push and allure Americans to play that role against Pakistan. But there are problems. The problem, one of the fundamental ones, is the history does not support this argument. When it comes to relationship with US, Pakistan has many decades, multi-pronged and multi-institutional relationship, which is tried and tested. India doesn't. India became a friend of US only after the end of Cold War and after the collapse of Soviet Union. Just like they used to be great friend of PLO, and now they are great friends of Israel. So relationship is not constant. Intentions are not constant, they change. Even Americans have learned it the hard way. There was a time when they befriended Chinese against Soviet Union. Now, China is their biggest competitor. So it's not your current state of relationship that matters. It's your capacity. And when it comes to capacity, you gave the figures. I mean, what I have been following, when it comes to India, their real rivals they have fought wars against are only Pakistan and China. Pakistan is next door, and even the farthest area of China they would want to strike is fully covered by Agni 5. So why do they need Agni 6? Why do they need Surya? That is the range, and you gave the specifics that they have. There's only one country in this region that can attack Canada, United States, Europe, and that's India. And they have had conflicts. They have conflict with Canada. And look at the language, the hysteria against Trump administration after they became cozy with Pakistan and praised Pakistan. So these intentions can change. The capacity remains. So I am sure that Americans are not incompetent and uneducated to see the difference. Who has the potential to threaten United States? Of course, Pakistan is not.
And just to add on a parting note to your very insightful and comprehensive analysis, another leading U.S. strategic thinker of Indian origin, Ashley Tellis, has given an equally compelling, interesting, but contrasting perspective after the Pak-India war, which basically argues that India has overestimated its power and underestimated Pakistan's capability. And this has cost India and could cost India dearly in terms of meeting the US expectations, because definitely India's will and capacity to counterbalance China falls short of the US expectations. And the recent dismal performance against Pakistan will definitely be considered by the US policymakers and thinkers as a reality check and a wake-up call, in contrast to their somewhat naive expectations that New Delhi will help contain China, whereas they ran to Washington after 3 hours of intense and focused retaliation from Pakistan. So I think this lunch by Mr. Trump for Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim is evidence that the US has realized that they value relationship with Pakistan. It's a responsible country. It's a capable military. It's a strong nation. It is a talented youth, which makes great progress, a great contribution to American quality of life and economy. And I think in days to come, there'll be closer multi-domain collaboration between Pakistan and the US, which such attempts to spoil through fake narratives of alleged Pakistani ICBM program aiming to hit the US will not be able to harm. So, with these few words, viewers, thank you so much for joining us and watching a great, insightful analysis by Mr. Murtaza Solangi and my own modest thoughts. Keep watching this space and don't forget to share your thoughts, your feedback, and suggestions in the comment section. Thank you for joining us.